Hey guys, what is going on? It is Brooke, or the Undead DM. I'm back at it again as a continuation from my last video covering the Shaman class by Leiser. If you haven't seen that video already, there will be a link to the video in the description below. I'd recommend checking that video out first to get the idea of my general feelings towards the base class and all its various quirks, as well as why I'm specifically covering this class by Leiser as opposed to Leiser as a creator or any of his other works, which I will get to in a later episode. But for right now, we are going to be going over the spirit guides for the Shaman class. So, as stated in the previous episode of Homebrew Review, the Shaman class can only channel one spirit guide at a time. And until level 11, or level 18, they could only have one of these spirits at a time. What this means is that whatever spirit that they have currently channeled is the spell list that they have until the next long rest, or when they reach level 11, that's the only spell list they have until every short or long rest. But at level 18, they get access to two different spell lists at the same time. Now, this isn't like the standard 5e recent, as of recording this video, playtests where they are broken up into arcane and druidic and holy, how they're doing in the current 1D&D playtests. These are just spell lists chosen that kind of fit the theme. So we're going to go with the air spirit. And one more thing before we continue is that every single spirit guide has its own little bonus that you get for channeling it. And we're going to go over that as well. So the air spirit, it's a bit of a mixed bag. So the bonus cantrips you get are Gust and Thunderclap. Pretty standard. Now the air spells that you get, you can see here. In general, this spell list isn't that good, because it's primarily focusing on, obviously, wind or thunder or lightning style of play. But nothing in the Shaman class really helps it do that. So, firstly, you get Chromatic Orb at level 1, or at the first level spell slot, you get Chromatic Orb, Fog Cloud, and Thunder Wave. Chromatic Orb, you can only use Lightning Thunder. Not a good damaging spell, but it's alright. Fog Cloud, pretty good. And Thunder Wave, it's alright in sticky situations. At second level, Dust Devil, Gust of Wind, and Shatter. Shatter, pretty okay damaging spell for that level. And Dust Devil, terrible spell because you have to concentrate on it, and you don't even really get that good of a summon for it. And Gust of Wind, just Gust of Wind, doesn't really do much. Good for clearing out fog clouds and stuff, but not much else. Call Lightning and Wind Co. Or Wind Wall, sorry. Call Lightning, concentration spell. Wind Wall, one of the better walls, but not a good wall compared to Prismatic Wall. Elemental Bane, Lightning or Thunder only. Storm Sphere, again, not good spells, but whatever. Conjure Elemental, you can only conjure air. And Control Winds, again, Conjure Elemental, not really that good of a summon spell if you lose concentration because it could turn on you. Investigative Wind, all the investitures, I'm going to say this right now, all the investitures are not good spells for the level you have to cast them at. Whirlwind, same issue here, a lot better 7th level spells. Control Weather, kind of really the only wind related spell at the level, not really much of an option there. And 9th level Storm of Vengeance, whatever. Overall the air spirit is not that good, but it could be worse. Ancestral Spirit, this one is strange because it kind of goes based off of past people. So you get Blade Ward and Resistance, both terrible cantrips, both of them requiring your action, and one of them giving you resistance to giving you an extra d4 or d6, I believe, to a saving throw, which you cannot prepare for. It only lasts a minute, and Blade Ward only gives you resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage from non-magical weapon attacks. Okay, cool. Gave up an action for that. Useless. Command, detect poison and disease, and shield of faith at the first level spells. Command is alright. Detect poison and disease is bad. Shield of faith is fine. Bonus action spell. Find traps, warding bond, and zone of truth. All three terrible spells. Find traps is basically useless. Warding bond is only really useful in like 2 situations. And zone of truth, okay, it's not going to stop them from not talking, so who cares? Create food and water, remove curse. Remove curse is good in a few situations, not a lot. And create food and water is really only good in like survival games, or if your DM is a real big stickler about your hunger and thirst. Death Ward and Guardian of Faith for 4th level. Death Ward is kind of preparing you for failure, and Guardian of Faith is whatever. 5th level, Dispel Evil and Good, Legend Lore. Legend Lore, it's good for knowing if a weapon's cursed, I guess. And Dispel Evil and Good, if someone's being possessed, just pop them out of the body, whatever. Find the Path at 6th level, whatever. 7th level, Magnificent Mansion, pretty good spell. 8th level, Anti-Magic Field, alright spell. 9th level, Foresight. There's a lot better things you'd be spending your 9th level spell on than Foresight. You could just give them the ability of Foresight using Wish, pretty much. Just give them advantage on everything. Who cares? It's Wish. You could pretty much do anything. Or just transform them into a dinosaur for an hour with True Polymorph. Who cares? Animal Spirit. This is basically the Druid one. You get Druid spells, pretty much. You get Infestation and Primal Savagery. Not terrible, but Primal Savagery is definitely bringing it down. Infestation's definitely the better one out of the two. For 1st level, you get Animal Friendship, Beast Spawn, Speak with Animals. Not really good spells. Whatever. 2nd level, Alter Self. But you can Aquatic Adaptation or Natural Weapons only. So your Alter Self, you can only pick those 2. You can't transform into anything else. Animal Messenger and Beast Sense. 2nd level is definitely not good either. Conjure Animals, best spell. Followed by Haste, one of the worst spells. 4th level, Giant Insect, Guardian of Nature, and Polymorph. Polymorph's a good spell. The rest of these are not good. 5th level, Awaken and Commune with Nature, as well as Insect Plague. Insect Plague is a good damaging spell. The other 2 are whatever. 8th level, Animal Shapes, pretty good spell. And 9th level, Mass Polymorph, good spell. Overall, this so far is one of the better ones, but that's only because it's got Conjure Animals, Polymorph, and Mass Polymorph. But then again, you'd be just better using your 9th level spell slot to cast Conjure Animals at a higher level to get more animals. So, Benevolent Spirit, I'm already going to tell you this is the worst one, because generally healing in this game is not optimal, because if you have 10 HP and your ally heals you for 5 HP and the enemy hits you for 17 HP, you're going to go down anyway. But if you have 10 HP, your ally readies their action for whenever you go down to heal you, and you get smacked for 17 points of damage, you're going to go down, but then you get popped back up with 5 HP. Meaning, essentially, you tanked 22 points of damage as opposed to 17. So you got 5 more hit points out of that exchange than anything. So generally, this is not the better one. You get Sacred Flame and Spare the Dying. Not good cantrips. Bless, Cure Wounds, and Protection from Evil and Good. Only thing good here is the Bless spell. 2nd level, you get Aid, Enhance Ability, and Lesser Restoration. Again, Aid is pretty much the only one good here. At 3rd level, you get Beacon of Hope and Revivify. Could have gone with some better spells. Can't really think of any off the top of my head, but Revivify, I guess, is there in case you need it. At 4th level, you get the 2 auras, the Aura of Life and Purity. Life is fine for out-of-combat healing, whatever. 5th level, you get Greater Restoration and Mass Cure Wounds. It's fine. 6th level, you get Heal. Okay, it's another healing spell. 7th level, you get Resurrection. At 8th level, you get Holy Aura. And at 9th level, you get Power Word Heal instead of True Resurrection. Would have preferred True Resurrection here instead of Power Word Heal. Or Mass Heal. That would have been better. But whatever. Again, not the best one, but it's alright. Fire Spirit. All these are going to be fire spells. You also get Control Flames and Produce Flames as a cantrips. For your first level, you get Burning Hands, Chromatic Orb, but fire only, and Hellish Rebuke. Burning Hands is an alright early game AoE spell. Continual Flame, Flame Sphere, and Heat Metal. Heat Metal is hilarious. Fireball and Minute Meteors. Whatever. Fireball is Fireball, everyone knows that. Elemental Bane, Fire only, and Wall of Fire, one of the better walls. Conjure Elemental, but only fire. Again, problem, because it could turn on you. And Immolation, whatever. Investiture, I already said Investitures are gonna be bad. Firestorms, and it's an alright AoE spell. Prefer Fireball. Incendiary Cloud is fine. Meteor Swarm sucks that you can't hit the same person with the same meteor more than once, but whatever. This is around like a mid-tier one, but it's only good if you have the Elemental Adept feat in order to just bypass resistance to fire damage. Earth Spirit, you get Mold Earth and Thorn Whip. Don't know how Thorn Whip fits into this, but I guess it's really the only other Earth-based cantrip. You get Earth Tremor, Entangle, and Hail of Thorns at first level. Nothing spectacular here. Second level, you get Earthbind, Earthen Grasp, and Spike Growth. Spike Growth is pretty much the only one that's okay here. At third level, you get Erupting Earth and Plant Growth. Same thing here, I think Plant Growth is more useful than Erupting Earth, because Erupting Earth is kind of does less damage than Fireball, but whatever. At fourth level, you get Grasping Vine and Stone Shape. Stone Shape is definitely more interesting, but Grasping Vine can be useful in some situations. Fifth level, Conjure Elemental, but only Earth, and Wall of Stone. Wall of Stone is one of the best wall spells in the game, so good to see that here. Investiture of Stone, whatever. Move Earth, no. Earthquake, pretty good spell. Nice area of effect, but one round kind of sucks. And you get Imprisonment. Burial, Chaining, or Minimus Containment only. Kind of sucks, but you know it makes sense. Then you get the Lost Spirit, and this is going to be one of the few spirits that you get something that's besides cantrips. So you get proficiency in a forgery kit and the deception skill, and if you already are proficient in the deception skill, you get expertise in it. You get Color Spray, Sleep, and Hideous Laughter. Sleep is is a really good spell for this level. You also get Mind Spike, Misty Step, and Pass Without Trace at second level. One of the best second levels that I've seen so far. Because Pass Without Trace and Misty Step is really, really good. Third level, Slow. Again, really good spell. Fourth level, you get Banishment and Confusion. Banishment, really good spell. Fifth level, you get Mislead and Synoptic Static. Synoptic Static is an insanely good spell. Then at 6th level, you get Scatter, whatever. Then 7th level, you get Plane Shift, whatever. 8th level, you get Feeble Mind, which is, it can be good, but it also can be bad. And then 9th level, Psychic Scream. It's an alright spell. I think the Lost Spirit is so far the best spirit that you can get. The Malevolent Spirit, you get Toll the Dead, and if you already know Toll of the Dead, when you cast this cantrip, a target that succeeds at saving throw takes half instead of none, and while you channel this spirit, you have proficiency in Intimidation, and if you already have proficiency, you get expertise. So obviously the Malevolent is all about scaring people, so you get Cause Fear, Dissonant Whispers, and Inflict Wounds. Cause Fear and Dissonant Whispers are pretty good. Second level, you get Blindness and Deafness, as well as Crown of Madness and Darkness. Darkness can be really good, but you gotta be careful with it. Third level, you get Fear, and Summon Lesser Demons. Fear is definitely the better one here. Fourth level, you get Phantasmal Killer and Summon Greater Demon. Again, Phantasmal Killer is the better one here. Fifth level, you get Destructive Wave and Infernal Calling. Sorry about that. Anyway, Destructive Wave and Infernal Calling. I don't think any of these are particularly good. Eye Bite is a pretty okay spell if you know when to use it and who to use it on. Finger of Death, that one's an iffy spell. Maddening Darkness and Weird for 8th and 9th level respectively. they're not the best spells, but they're really the best control spells at that level. Besides the obvious like polymorph, like true polymorph. But overall, this is gonna be one of the second best ones to pick, since its spell list is just it's hit and miss, but the ones that it hits, it really hits. Then you got the Mournful Spirit, where you know the friend's cantrip, and once per short or long rest, when you cast it, you can basically prevent the target from knowing it was put underneath the spell's effects. But basically how it works is that with friends, if they stop being under the spell, they become hostile to you. So this essentially just says, well, they're not hostile to you, but they know you used it. So it's alright. It's not a good ability, but I guess it's okay for like early game if you really need it, but I don't. I don't think you need it. For first level, you get Charm Person, Heroism, and Sanctuary. Sanctuary is a pretty good spell, so is Heroism. Charm Person can be kind of situational, but at this early in the game, I don't think it matters. Second level, you get Calm Emotions, Enthrall, and Suggestion. Suggestion is definitely the better spell here. Third level, you get Sending and Tongues. Unless you're running a campaign that requires you to contact people at long distances, or has multiple languages that your party just hasn't covered yet, it's a very bad third level. Fourth level, you get Charm Monster and Compulsion. Two not very good spells, considering how monsters are going to have high wisdom saves at this point. At fifth level, you get Contact of the Plane and Dream. Dream is alright. Contact of the Plane is situational, but I guess it could be useful in like very certain circumstances. At sixth level, you get Mass Suggestion and Irresistible Dance. Suggestion and Irresistible Dance, probably one of the better 6th levels. And we're going to skip 7th level because they didn't put one here, even though they have their complete own spell list, might I remind you. So they have all these new spells that they made, but they couldn't come up with ones that they could just insert in here. So at 8th level, they got Antipathy and Sympathy, as well as Telepathy. Again, not very good ones, good spells to pick, but whatever. And they also didn't make a 9th level one. Strange. The Mischievous Spirit, you know Thaumaturgy and Vicious Mockery. And if you already know Thaumaturgy, you can create up to 2 effects with it instead of 1. Whatever. At first level, you get Catapult, Disguise Self, and Grease. Grease and Catapult, definitely really good spells, so is Disguise Self. It's a really good first level to start. Then you get Invisibility, Knock, and Magic Mouth. Again, definitely good spells if you know how to use them, but Invisibility is just kind of generally a good spell. Third level, you get Blink and Major Image. Again, kind of a weaker third level, because Blink doesn't really do much, and Major Image doesn't create a sound, so it's alright. Fourth level, you get Greater Invis, and you get Hallucinatory Terrain. Greater Invis is definitely better. I would just stop using Invisibility at this point if you get Greater Invis, unless you don't have any more 4th level. Pass Wall and Seeming at 5th level. Seeming is definitely an interesting one, but not necessary. 6th level, you get Programmed Illusion. Pretty fun. 7th level, you get Mirage Arcane. Pretty fun spell. Glibness is definitely something you should put on your bard or whatever charisma based person you have on your party, because this is just going to make them even better at it. Because unfortunately, I don't think you could target yourself with it, as far as I was able to read the spell. And then True Polymorph here. This is definitely the best 9th level. This is more of a early game spirit that you should pick, due to all of the deception that you can go through. But other than that, not really something I would pick a lot. So overall, Mischievous Spirit, it's once again, it's a very early game spirit, and I'd recommend getting rid of it like at around the 10th level, maybe 7th level, because not a lot of things are gonna fall for these anymore. Uh, we got the. I know we're doing this out of alphabetical order here, but they're kind of formatted in a weird way. So we're going to do the Warrior Spirit. So the Warrior Spirit, proficiency with martial weapons and shields, not any bigger armor, just martial weapons and shields. So at most you're still getting a bonus 2 to AC and harder hitting weapons, but you have nothing defensively other than that shield to help. And you're also only a D8 with light armor. Once again, so not a good look. You do, for first level, get Absorb Elements, but that's pretty much the only good spell here besides maybe Zephyr Strike in a few situations, but Hunter's Mark is just generally terrible. Second level, Bark Skin, Magic Weapon, and Spiritual Weapon. Again, if you haven't seen Pack Tactics video on Spiritual Weapon, it's not good. I'll link that in the description as well. Third level, Conjure Barrage, and Elemental Weapon. Conjure Barrage is really only good if you're using a ranged weapon, but if you plan on using melee, kind of a wasted spell. Fourth level, you get Freedom of Movement and Stone Skin. See, they're kind of giving you, they give you Bark Skin at second level, and then they give you Stone Skin with fourth level to supplement the fact that you're not getting good armor, but it's not good supplements. Because this Stone Skin just makes it so you have resistance to damage, and Bark Skin basically gives you 13 plus dex, which is light armor pretty much, or low medium armor. At 5th level, you get Holy Weapon, Steel Wind Strike, and Swift Quiver. Swift Quiver is a terrible spell, so is Holy Weapon. Steel Wind Strike is alright. Tensor's Transformation at 6th, whatever. Warning Cane and Sword, again, like Spiritual Weapon, not a good spell. They don't have an 8th level here, but they have a 9th level in Invulnerability. If you have to supplement your lack of bulk, or your lack of armor class, or dodging capabilities with a 9th level spell slot to just make you invulnerable, you've done something wrong. Vengeful Spirit. Once on each of your turns, when you hit with a weapon attack or deal damage to only a target with a Shaman spell, you add your Charisma to the damage. This is terrible, because it's once on each of your turns. So it's not even once per turn where you could do a cheeky thing with Warcaster and cast a spell as an attack of opportunity and then deal damage again because it's not your turn. It's once on each of your turns, so you're only limiting this to one use per round. And you have to hit with a weapon attack or deal damage to only a single target with a Shaman spell. So you either have to give up your reactionary spell cast with Warcaster, or you have to make sure that the spell you're casting with Warcaster can only hit the one target. And then on top of that, they add the additional restriction where it has to be only with a Shaman spell. Meaning, if you choose Spell Adept, Magic Adept, no, Magic Initiate, sorry, there we go. If you choose Magic Initiate, they count as spells for you, but they do not classify themselves as your spell list. Meaning that this entire ability does not work if you want to get multi-classing in, because none of the spells are classified as Shaman spells, they're classified as their own spells. So this is basically useless for anyone outside of the Shaman. Compelled Dual Guiding Bolt and Hex. 3 terrible spells, but the best one out of the pieces of poo here is the Guiding Bolt, because at least it does damage. Compelled Dual and Hex don't do anything. And arguably Hex, much like Hunter's Mark, just actively harms you. Second level, Hold Person, Acid Arrow, and Shadow Blade. Shadow Blade is pretty interesting, because you could do some funky interactions with it. But other than that, Hold Person is alright for this level. Bestow Curse and Vampiric Touch. Vampiric Touch really only works if you're going to get in melee, which if you're not running the Warrior Spirit, you probably shouldn't do. Blight and Locate Creature for 4th level. Blight is alright. but again, creatures are gonna have pretty high con saves by the time you get to this point. Enervation and Hold Monster, I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but again, not very good spells, because again, creatures are gonna have high saves at this point. Disintegrate, it's a good damaging spell, but don't hold out on it being this big nuke. Power Word Pain, whatever. Power Word Stun, whatever. Power Word Kill, whatever. Because the fact that Power Word Kill, and the reason I say this is because Power Word Kill requires your target to be at 100 HP or less. If they are not, the spell does nothing. It doesn't even do half damage. Because I know it's an instant kill, but if it did something along the lines of they instantly die or they take 10d10 worth of damage, that would be better, but it still wouldn't be a good option. It's generally how it is for the power words, because power words are just not that good spell. And finally, the Water Spirit. You get Frostbite and Shape Water for cantrips. You also, at first level, the first level spells you get are Chromatic Orb, Cold Only, Create or Destroy Water, and then Ice Knife. Again, restricting Chromatic Orb to one element sucks. Create and Destroy Water can only be useful in certain situations, and Ice Knife is probably the best one out of the three. Blur, Mirror Image, and Snowstorm, or Snowball Swarm. I think Mirror Image, as strange and as unbalanced as it is in terms of power, not because it's broken, but because it's like insanely weak, contrary to what most people think. I think it's probably the better spell here, because at least with that, Snowball Storm doesn't do that much damage. I think it does a few d4, and then Blur is whatever. Third level, you get Sleet Storm and Tidal Wave. Alright spells, not good, but whatever. It's the best you're gonna get for water-based spells. Then at fourth level, you get Control Water and Elemental Bane, but cold only. Again, restricting the spell to a cold only makes thematic sense, but it sucks balance-wise because you can't diversify. Because, once again, I will say this, if you restrict the spell to a certain element, as a caster who cannot switch their spell list every short or long rest until 11th level, which is basically end game at that point, because not a lot of campaigns go past 13th to 14th level. If you're restricting it by this much and you only have access to one spell list that you can change every long rest, and you only have that spell list for the whole long rest, no. Cone of Cold, Conjure Elemental, but water only, and then Maelstrom for 5th level. Cone of Cold is definitely just cold version of Fireball, but somehow worse. Investitures are terrible at 6th level, and Wall of Ice. All of the walls are pretty good. I think Wall of Ice might be one of the weaker ones, because I believe it can melt. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section, but I think it can melt. We're going to skip 7th level because, again, despite the creator making his own spells for this entire class, didn't bother to make any spells for the spells he was missing in the spirits. Strange. 8th level, you get Tsunami, which is pretty much the only water spell you're going to get at 8th level. And then 9th level, nothing, because again, didn't make a spell. So he also goes over what you should do if you want to create your own spirits. But this, I feel, at least to me, in my opinion, giving somebody a template as to create their own thing for your class, instead of covering as many bases as you can, and then just saying, I didn't cover something, or I didn't do anything, it feels a little lazy. Like you're outsourcing the work to other people to make what they want. Which is fine, but if you're going to go through the trouble of making so many different spirits with so many different spell lists and trying to cover as many things as possible, I don't think this was necessary. I do appreciate it. But then if you read the final one, it says you have to make not only the spirits, but you also have to make things for their subclasses, because certain subclasses have different features for each spirit. So whatever spirit you make, you have to not only come up with your own spell list, come up with an own additional feature, but then you also have to come up with benefits for the subclasses. But out of all of these, I think the best ones are definitely the Lost Spirit, the Malevolent Spirit, pretty much it. And obviously, the worst ones, I would probably say, are the Fire Spirit, because it doesn't give you anything to innately overcome resistance to fire. The same with, and pretty much any other ones that are just missing spells, like the Mournful Spirit missing a 7th and 9th, the Warrior missing an 8th, the Water missing a 7th and a 9th. But overall, some 2 or 3 of the spirits are pretty good. The rest of the spirits are mediocre, and then a few are just, you should never choose them. But with that being said, I would like to thank you so much for watching this episode of Homebrew Review. In the next episode, I will be going over the first subclass for the Shaman, being the Exorcism spiritual practice. If you guys have any suggestions for what I should cover after I'm done with the Shaman, please leave them in the comment section below, and I'll see y'all next time. Latest.